welcome to Bedtime Myths and Mysteries. Tonight, we go somewhere that should disturb you far more than it does. A place where the dead were not buried, not mourned, not forgotten, but arranged, decorated, displayed, where 10,000 human skulls line the walls like wallpaper, and the locals walk past without a second glance. Tonight, the bone churches of Europe. There is a small town in the Czech Republic called Kutná Hora. Unremarkable mostly, a medieval market town, quiet streets, a good cathedral, the kind of place you drive through without stopping, unless you know where to look. Beneath the cemetery, Church of All Saints, in a vaulted Gothic basement that smells of cold stone and centuries, sits a chandelier. It hangs from the center of the ceiling, ornate and enormous, casting dim light across the room below. It is made entirely of human bone. Every bone in the human body is represented in that chandelier. Femurs, tibias, skulls, vertebrae, pelvises, arranged with a craftsman's eye into something genuinely beautiful. Around it, the walls are dressed with garlands of skulls. Pyramids of bones rise in the corners. A coat of arms belonging to the noble Schwarzenberg family has been constructed in full skeletal detail, including a raven made of finger bones pecking at a severed eye socket. 40,000 people are in this room, not visiting. In the room, their remains, 40,000 dead, folded and shaped into decoration, into architecture, into art. This is the Sedlec ossuary, and it is not even close to the strangest one. The word ossuary comes from the Latin os, meaning bone. An ossuary is simply a container for the dead, a box, a room, a building constructed to house human remains when the ground runs out or the time for individual burial has passed. They exist on every continent. But in Europe, particularly in Catholic Central Europe, something different happened. The remains were not simply stored, they were transformed. To understand why, you need to understand what medieval Europeans believed about the body after death. The resurrection of the flesh was not metaphor, it was doctrine. On the day of final judgment, the body would rise again, your specific body, your specific bones, and be reunited with your soul for eternity. This made your physical remains extraordinarily important. To be buried in consecrated ground was not tradition, it was survival. It was preparation for what came next. Kutná Hora became a place of particular significance in 1278, when the abbot of Sedlec returned from a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, carrying a handful of soil from Golgotha, the hill where Christ was crucified. He scattered it over the cemetery. Word spread. Everyone wanted to be buried there. Within decades, people were traveling from across Bohemia, across Central Europe, to be interred in this soil touched by sacred ground. The cemetery expanded. Then the Black Death arrived in the 14th century. Then the Hussite Wars of the 15th century. The bodies stacked up faster than the ground could hold them. The solution, arrived at with remarkable practicality, was to exhume the older remains, clean the bones, and store them. A half-blind monk is recorded as having spent decades sorting and stacking. By the time a woodcarver named František Rindt was commissioned by the Schwarzenberg family in 1870 to bring some order to the accumulated chaos, there were enough bones to furnish 4 bell-shaped mounds in the chapel's corners and still have 40,000 left over. Rindt, apparently, was not a man who did things by halves. Kutná Hora is the most famous, but it is far from alone. In Rome, beneath the church of Santa Maria della Concezione dei Capucini on the Via Veneto, lie 6 chapels decorated entirely with the bones of 4,000 Capuchin friars. The ceiling of one room is a vast floral mandala assembled from shoulder blades and vertebrae. In another, Complete robed skeletons stand in alcoves, some holding scythes, some holding scales. Memento mori, rendered in 3 dimensions. A small sign at the entrance reads, in Italian, "What you are now, we once were. What we are now, you will be." The Capuchins did not consider this morbid. They considered it honest. In Évora, Portugal, the Chapel of Bones attached to the Royal Church of St. Francis was built in the 16th century by a Franciscan monk with a similarly direct philosophy. The walls are lined with the bones and skulls of approximately 5,000 monks, mortared directly into the plaster. 2 desiccated human bodies hang from chains near the entrance. A man and a child, still intact, still watching the door. Above the entrance, carved in stone, is the inscription, "We bones that are here await yours." In Paris, 60 feet below the streets, the bones of 6 million people line 200 miles of tunnel. The Paris catacombs began as a practical solution to overflowing cemeteries in the 1780s and became, with characteristic French attention to aesthetics, something else entirely. The bones were arranged by type, femurs here, skulls there, into walls, archways, decorative patterns. Today, 6 million dead form the architecture of the dark, beneath a city of the living, going about their days directly above. What strikes visitors most consistently is not the horror, but the calm. People expect to feel what horror films have trained them to feel: dread, revulsion, the uncanny wrongness of bone out of context. What they report instead is something closer to stillness, a peculiar peace. The locals have always known this. In Kutna-Hora, the ossuary is not a tourist attraction that grew from a place of dread. It is a functioning Catholic chapel. Masses are still held there. The bones are not set dressing. They are the congregation. The people of the town have grown up understanding the building as an act of honor, not horror. The dead were not discarded. They were elevated, given form, given permanence, given a beauty that ordinary burial in ordinary ground could never provide. The Capuchin friars of Rome requested in their wills to be added to the chapel after death. This was not obligation, it was aspiration. To become part of that ceiling, that mandala, that permanent testament to the brevity of everything. This was considered a privilege. There is an argument that the ossuary tradition represents the most honest relationship with death that Western culture ever produced. No euphemism, no comfortable distance, no language designed to make it easier. Just the plain fact of what remains, arranged with care, displayed with love, and left for the living to reckon with on their own terms. The bones do not ask for sympathy. They do not perform grief. They simply wait, as they have always waited, with the patience that only the dead fully possess. What you are now, they once were. The chandelier turns slowly in the cold air of the vault. 40,000 people holding the light. If tonight's journey into the bone churches left you with something to think about, a like and a subscription would mean a great deal to this channel. New mysteries wait for you here every week. Sleep well.